Dokja asks him what he is on about, and he replies with a smile that it will be his cliché that wins in the end. Meanwhile, Dokkaebi appears there and says they are all busy fighting, and even the historical constellations are giving it their all. He smiles and exclaims that he has come with great news, and the second qualification will now be unveiled. The second qualification is that the one who dreams of sitting on the throne must desire it, and only a limited number of kings can challenge their claim to the throne. Dokkaebi reveals that the number of kings that can participate in the challenge will be 5. There are 14 kings currently, and they think that there must be some kings outside, and the number of kings in the hidden dungeon is 12. The Tyrant King laughs and asks which one is the king among them. The other kings advise each other to fight him together. Meanwhile, Xiong shouts from his place and tells the Tyrant King about Dokja, that he is the king, and he saw it with his own eyes that he has the flag. Everyone stares at him, and Dokja releases his face and makes him fall. Everyone wants to kill him now, and they are just watching them quietly. Suddenly, a man attacks another king and kills him, and with this, the number of kings has been reduced. Another man has killed another king, and with this, the current number of kings is reduced to 12. The other kings are now scared of each other, while the Tyrant King also rushes toward one of them. Meanwhile, a man appears from nowhere, steals everyone's jewels, and laughingly exclaims that he knows his cliché will win. The fake King Seong-han has acquired all 7-star jewels, and Dokja is surprised to see a woman in the form of a real plagiarist. He wonders why she is called the fake king, and she has used her avatars to infiltrate their ranks and waited for the best time to strike. After a while, they are notified that the 7-star jewels have been sacrificed to summon a new item, and the fake King Seong has summoned the 4-yin demon decapitator. She grabs the sword and asks everyone to see that it now belongs to her. Now she will kill every last one of them. Tanha asks Dokja what they should do, and he asks her to calm down because they will be all right. Xiong starts killing everyone, and Sraa asks him if he is sure that they will be safe. Gilyong also asks if the sword is really that powerful, and he replies that it is indeed powerful. In the meantime, Seong attacks a man, but he stays alive after her attack, and Dokja thinks he wishes he could tell her the reason she gets worried and wonders if the sword is useless. All the people rush toward her and ask each other to kill her and take the sword. Dokja thinks the 4-yin demon decapitator is famous, not because it's a great sword, but because its owner was a great warrior. Xiong is now worried because of the people, and Dokja appreciates her way to get the stones and says she should have done that in her writing. She turns back and tries to attack him, but he stays unharmed. Meanwhile, the Tyrant King also rushes toward them angrily and says he will end them all, and they seem frustrated to see all this mess. Dokja seems to be waiting for someone and says he should be there now, wondering if that man is lost and thinking that the north is a little ways away, but it shouldn't take him this long. Soon another king was killed, and now the current number of kings is 11. Dokja smiles and thinks his desired man has come, and with this, the number of kings is reducing gradually. Everyone is shocked to see that the number of kings is reducing rapidly, and they observe that someone must be there and is killing them one by one. However, the Tyrant King doesn't seem to be worried about this and is killing the people rapidly. Suddenly, there is a crack in the roof, and everyone starts watching toward it. A large number of big rocks fall from the roof and take the Tyrant King under them. Now, the current number of kings is 7, and they are shocked to see the situation happening right now. The Tyrant is strong, but he isn't definitely the strongest, because the most powerful of the 7 kings of Seoul is Joonghyuk. Dokja waves his hand toward him. He is watching him furiously and says he will kill him this time. Out of the 7 kings, he has met the following so far: the Hermit King of the Shadows, Dum-hun Han, the King of Beauty Ji-won Men, the Maitreya King Song Cha, the Earth Dragon King Tong, and the Tyrant King Younggang Hujung. There is one neutral king who hasn't appeared yet. There is still one king left and had met this king before he met all the others. He is among the most powerful of the 7 kings of Seoul, Joonghyuk. He calls Dokja and furiously says he will kill him this time. He is coming toward him. Dokja thinks he sure is worthy enough to be the main character because he sent him all the way up north, but he already has a black flag. Seeing as how he's angry means Ji-hee and Huiwen must have done their jobs right. He then asks Seong to give him the sword, but when she refuses, he asks her if she wants to die there. He then calls Gilyong, who is summoning an insect, and suddenly a grade 6 Monarch AR level insect, Titan Terra, has appeared there. In the meantime, he grabs Seong's flag, and his purple flag has absorbed the contribution points accumulated in the black flag. He is notified that his purple flag has evolved into a black flag, and he can now use the skill of the black flag. He receives a congratulatory notification that he had accomplished the first king's qualification. Now the current number of kings is 6. He has also obtained the item Three-Wheeled Ring and the Dragon Jar from the Tyrant King. Suddenly, Joonghyuk rushes toward him to attack, but he puts one of the guards in front of him and dodges his attack. Joonghyuk attacks the guard and beheads him. Dokja asks him to hold on and talk to him for a bit. He talks about Memo, his sister, and asks where he has hidden her. Dokja wonders what he is talking about. He uses the skill of lie detection to check if he is lying. He has then confirmed that Dokja is telling a lie, and Joonghyuk says he will kill him if he doesn't tell him about his sister. Dokja agrees to tell him, but asks him to put his sword down first. Joonghyuk asks him if he plans to hold his family as a hostage, and angrily says he should have killed him. Meanwhile, Dokja appears there and asks them to calm down and says they can't be fighting. He then reveals that all the qualifications have been met because the current number of kings is 5. Now the qualified kings will be transported to the last stage. Joonghyuk shouts at him, while Dokja seems calm, and with this, all the kings have been transported from the place. Dokja reaches a place and is notified that he has been disqualified from participating in the final king's qualification. Dokja appears and says he has missed an important detail because he was too focused on the big picture. He is notified that he has failed to occupy his target station because the condition says he must occupy his target station in order to participate in the final king's qualification. He forgot that the target station was Changan station, and Dokja said he couldn't participate in the final phase if he didn't complete the previous phases. Dokja thinks he forgot about the target station because he was so focused on taking out the other kings. He wonders if he should head over there, but the scenario would be over by the time he got back. The kings have already started fighting. Suddenly, Sanga appears from the side and calls him. Heewon also appears there with a little girl. She asks her about her brother, and Dokja asks her why she is there since he asked her to wait at Changan station. She replies that she couldn't stand there and wait for him, and the girl hasn't had anything to eat since this morning. She asks Dokja if she is his sister, but she replies that Dokja is not her brother because he is uglier than her brother. Dokja knows that she is Joonghyuk's sister and thinks he had planned for Joonghyuk to go north after seeing the note he sent with Ji. He then had Heewon save his sister so he could manipulate her. He then turns back and goes somewhere, and on being inquired, Heewon replies that he is going to take over Changan station. She then calls the girl and asks her to give him that thing she gave her, and Dokja is shocked to see that she takes out Mia Yu's skill inventory from her mouth. Heewon asks her if he knows about the thing, and he is shocked to see this because this is the flagpole of Changan station. She exclaims that he only needs the flagpole to take over the station, and he is still shocked that she brought the flagpole from Changan station. The constellation, the adventurer who makes eggs stand up, is moved by Heewon's idea. She then asks him what he is waiting for and asks him to plant the flag and get going. He plants the flag and is notified that his group has taken control of Changan station, and he has received 2,000 coins as his reward. Now his body will be transformed to the stage of the final king's qualification, and he reaches inside the place with a notification. All kings can no longer receive the support of their constellations, and the items that affect their attack and defense stats will be restricted. Moreover, the overall stats of all kings will be reduced to 10 by 10. The final king's qualification will continue until there is only one man left standing. There are already present the King of Beauty Ji, Won Min, the Maitreya King S, the Supreme King Joonghyuk, and another middle-aged man. Soon, the neutral king ILO John forfeits, and this fight should have ended in less than a minute because of Joonghyuk. But they are still fighting bravely. Guan calls him and says they meet again when she doesn't want to fight him. Dokja doesn't expect her to have survived this long. Dokja says he will attack her if she doesn't forfeit, and she asks him to go ahead. Meanwhile, the King Sangyong seems tired and injured. His body has multiple injuries, and Joonghyuk jumps to attack him again. Dokja remembers that Joonghyuk finds a loophole in the last phase because this is a fight with no skills, no stigmas, and an average stat of 10. Everything seems to be completely restricted, but there is only one thing that is not restricted, which is coins. A notification appears in which the Lady of the Spring Brigade is questioning the fairness of this scenario. There is a problem with their right to spend the coins they have. We all increased stats will be reset after the scenario ends. Dokja asks them to think about spending their coins because they are pretty much throwing them down the drain. After a while, Joonghyuk attacks the Maitreya King Sean, and with this, he can no longer fight. G1 is watching the scene and thinks they probably don't have any coins left, and there is no way they saved their coins during their battles to get there. However, Joonghyuk has always had some to spare, and Balkabin knows that he should have about 40,000 coins. In the meantime, Guan also forfeits, and now there are only 2 contestants. Dokja thought that he would come straight for him, but he is taking his time, or he is trying to see how high his stats are. He thinks Joonghyuk probably wants to win using the minimum amount of coins possible, and he could get his sister back if he sat on the ruler's throne. Dokja uses 4,000 coins on his strength and uses a large number of coins. His strength and his coins in possession are decreasing rapidly. He then exclaims that he will go easy on him and asks him not to die on him. He has spent a total of 72,000 coins, and his strength increases from level 10 to 100. He thinks it's time to reap the fruits of his investments. His strength has now surpassed that of humans, and he is the first to have strength in 3 digits. He has received 10,000 coins as a reward. Joonghyuk is also shocked to see his power level, so he jumps upon him and punches him. He spends 10,000 coins on his agility, but they have no effect in front of Dokja. Soon, Dokja reaches his neck and attacks him with his full might. After some time, Dokja appears there and says it looks like the underdog has won. Joonghyuk is unconscious. Dokja wonders if he hit him too hard. He then gets him up and says he startled him, but he is surprised that he is still conscious after being hit with 100 strength. He calls him again and says he should have been nicer to him and asks how he can threaten to kill him every time he sees him. Dokja receives a congratulatory notification that he has passed all the qualifications for the ruler's throne. His temporary stats have been reset, and all the restrictions that were put in place have been lifted. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is satisfied with the ending, and the constellation Secretive Plotter applauds his will. He is also notified that the constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire is impressed by his tenacity, and he has been gifted 4,500 coins. In the meantime, the constellation Lady of the Spring Brigade is mortified, and the constellation One-Eye Matter throws his eye patch to the ground. The constellation Lord of Ham blames Dokja for this. Dokja appears there and says it was a fair fight, announcing to all the incarnations of the soul that they now have a new owner of the ruler's throne. Dokja is about to announce his name when Dokja stops him and asks if he isn't being a little too hasty. She makes the announcement when he hasn't even sat on the throne yet. Dokja asks Dokja what he can do with this thing, and Dokja tells him to make other humans do his bidding. It's just as the name implies. As long as he is seated on the throne, he will be the absolute ruler. Dokja asks if this is the only benefit he will get, claiming it sounds too good to be true. He will have absolute power over the ground in which he rules. Dokja says he is only getting what he deserves, and that he has risked his life to get where he is now. Dokja asks if this throne gives him powers that override the rule of plausibility. He calls Dokja a good liar and asks if the management has rules against lying like that. Dokja says they should not argue over this and that they have to end the scenario. If Dokja keeps acting out, he will just destroy the ruler's throne. Dokja asks him to go ahead and destroy it because he doesn't care. He turns back and says he refuses to sit on the throne, and everyone is shocked by his decision. It starts raining, and everyone is staring at him quietly. Dokja breaks the silence and asks him what he just said, seeming so angry. Dokja replies that he is not going to sit on the throne. Dokja doesn't understand why he is so stubborn and asks him to sit on the throne because Soul Dokja won't be able to make it through the 5th scenario. The people shout at him, asking him to sit on the throne. Dokja says it can give him everything he wants and more. Just sitting on the throne, he will become a fable, and the constellation promised to rise in its ranks. He also warns him, saying he is not like the low-grade Dokja, and his trickery won't work on him. Dokja thinks what he said is true because the 5th scenario will be difficult to clear without the ruler's throne. But he knows there are some things Dokja isn't telling him. He knows that if he uses the power of the ruler's throne even once, he won't ever be able to reach the end of the scenario. Joonghyuk realizes this only on his 41st regression, and a man calls him from behind, asking why he is refusing this, being a king. He asks them why they want him as their king, and what would happen if he just killed them after sitting on that throne. He also asks the other people if they have forgotten already that they used to live in a democratic country, but why are they all acting like subjects of a kingdom? More importantly, He doesn't want to rule over the likes of them, and this is why he refuses to sit on the ruler's throne. He also states that he doesn't want to sign with any of them lousy constellations. He puts his hand on his sword and says he will stop anyone else from sitting on that throne. Dokja calls him from behind and says he is testing his patience. Dokja asks the people how long they will let the dew push them around with their scenarios. This goes for all the constellations of Korea as well. He knows that all constellations are not the same, and that some are higher in rank than others. Dokja asks everyone how long this land must suffer at the expense of their bickering. He says they make history and become historical constellations, building up fabled acts to become fabled constellations. He asks them what they will do when they become the brightest shining star in the sky. He then talks with the constellations and asks how much longer their descendants will suffer just so that they can fulfill their desires. Some constellations are in deep thought over this, and some fall silent. Dokja snaps his fingers and says he can't let him go on, and with this, a new sub-scenario has arrived with the clear condition that they have to subdue incarnation Dokja Kim, who refuses to sit on the throne, and usurp the throne for themselves. Dokja smiles and thinks he knows that it would come to this, and all the people are staring at him for the greed of the throne. Heewon runs from a side, stands in front of him, and challenges the people to come at her if they dare. Dokja is also surprised to see her anger, and Minab comes to him and says it looks like he is the main character of the world instead of Yuk. Sungkook also stands for his help and says he would never do anything so absurd. S states there are values they must uphold, no matter how the world changes. Sanga says she believes in this statement sincerely, and all of his team members put their lives on the line to save him. However, he is shocked to see that the King of Beauty and the Matria King also come and stand in front of him for his help. She says to Dokja that she is going to help him just this once, and Matria King says he could tell, reading his mind, that he has a point. Dokja is still shocked at their help, and Dokja calls other people and asks what they are waiting for, asking them to get him. The people rush toward them and start fighting, and Heewon asks him if he has a plan and what he wants them to do. He asks her to buy them some time so that he can destroy the throne. The people observe that he is using the 4-yin demon decapitator, and he activates the Gong's special ability, Echo of the Stars. He will call upon a constellation, and after some time, the Echo of the Stars allows him to seek the help of a high constellation. He then calls the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. Dokja gets angry about this and is staring at him with murderous intentions. He is notified that the stars have set sail, and a line of star constellations appears in the sky. He calls upon the 1st star of the Big Dipper, Tamang, the 2nd star of the Big Dipper, Gammon, and the 3rd star of the Big Dipper, Nok John, the 4th star of the Big Dipper, Mok, the 5th star of the Big Dipper, Yong, and the 6th star of the Big Dipper, Mugak. Currently, the 6 constellations are looking at him, and one of them asks him what he is thinking. They warn him that if he calls all of them, his mind will be destroyed, and some ask him why he called them and why he is walking on a thorny path. Suddenly, he starts coughing and bleeding, and Dokja thinks to be able to use the 4-yin demon decapitator, he needs to call one more constellation. He is notified that the Pongu cannot be used any further. He thinks about the reward item the Tyrant King received from the 7-man dungeon, the Dragon Jar. Moreover, sacrificing the S-grade item, the 3-wheeled ring, he will recharge the usage count for the S-grade item, Pong. He is notified that the Dragon Yi exudes its mysterious power, and with this, the SR item, 3-wheeled ring, has been sacrificed. Thanks for watching. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. And hey, drop a comment if you have thoughts or new ideas or just want to say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.